you're in a race and people are falling off, not reaching the finish line. What I've learned is that a lot of tech companies fail just because people give up. It's not because the tech and the idea wasn't good enough. It's because it's just frustrating when you're like, oh, I'm almost there, something goes wrong. That's just the main thing for a founder is that you just have to be incredibly resilient. And if you don't have that, you're not going to make it. That's the bottom line. If you want to have a Web3 project that's successful, you must make a Web2 interface.
It will be more usable for people.
For sure. And also, if you think of Web3, you hear decentralization, you hear blockchain, you hear all these terms that you will never be able to wrap your head around, you know, as a Web2 user. So that's why we built a Web2 app that has Web3 features.
Greetings everyone, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Kirill Ivanov. Today I have a special guest, Michael Coyle, entrepreneur and crypto investor. We'll be diving into Memecoins, building startups, and AI trends. Hey Michael.
Kirill, how are you? Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, again. It's great to have you here. Could you start by introducing yourself and give me a quick brief about yourself, about your background in crypto?
So my name is Michael Coyle. I'm 30 years old. I'm Irish. I've been based in Dubai for the last 4 years. Before that, I was in Barcelona for 3 years. And then the 23 years previous to that, I was in the greatest country on planet Earth, Ireland.
Okay.
When I came out of university, I studied in university, I studied business information systems. But when I came out of university, I set up a digital marketing agency as one of the first people in the west of Ireland to be running paid ads on social media. So I used to run ads for mainly the hospitality and health and fitness niche in the west of Ireland. And at the same time, I've been investing in crypto. From 2016 is the first time I invested.
Okay.
Yes, I've been in it a while, but let me tell you something. I did not make money at the start. I lost a lot of money. So
Really?
My agency was doing pretty well. So like, I remember before I even hired somebody, I was on 20K a month euros in the west of Ireland, which is a lot of money for somebody from the area I'm from.
Okay.
But anyway, so I started investing into crypto and I was catching Bitcoin.
From 2016.
Yeah, so it was around the time, realistically, that the bull run in 2017 started when I really started investing. I was looking at it in 2016.
Was it successful for you?
2016, 2017 was not. 2018 particularly not, because I was at the receiving end of the XRP crash.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, what happened was made a good bit of cash, we'll say, Litecoin, ETH, Bitcoin, transfers then to XRP, thought I was a genius. I was like, oh, I'm able to call all the winners here. And XRP was obviously the last one to pump.
Okay.
But I started buying it at like $2.50 in USD. So that's when it was almost at the top.
Okay.
And I remember then when it kept on, the dip was coming and it was just like, oh, I'm buying the dip. And I was like on all these Facebook groups. And all these Facebook groups had all this chart analysis, technical analysis from these people who did not know what they were talking about. So I was like,
your first experience was like terrible and not good.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. I definitely round tripped into a massive net negative, and it was all on my eToro account. So then I was like, I'll just forget about it altogether. So that left like a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. But anyways, I focused on my marketing agency for the next 2 years from 2018 to 2020. Then COVID happened, and remember Bitcoin was like around 4K at the time or something like that. So kind of started looking into it slowly. But like I said, I had a marketing agency. So what I started doing was pivoting the marketing agency towards Web3 and crypto.
Okay.
So I started working with these projects. And then I was like, oh, everything is going up all the time.
Yeah.
And then basically what happened was, got into that space, a bit too euphoric again, made decent cash with it, but also wasted a lot of it and didn't, with a lot of crypto investors, what they do is you think it's never going to stop. And you're like, Bitcoin hits like 60K or whatever, you're like, oh my God, institution money or whatever is going to come in that's going to bring the entire market up. When people are thinking like that, it's the worst time possible, you know?
Okay. What's your experience in Memecoins? How you come to Memecoins and build your project?
Okay, so with Memecoins, like obviously I think everybody last cycle when Elon started tweeting about Doge, that was my first exposure to memes, because from what I'm seeing in this cycle is they call it the attention economy. That's what is mentioned by some KOLs that I follow that are very, like, they haven't been wrong what they've done so far. But the last cycle I actually started buying a small bit of Doge, saw it go up, didn't understand why. But I was like, this is hilarious. Like, okay. And it's funny to be part of that community, do you know? But my exposure to meme coins, the last cycle was very limited. And then obviously Shiba, I remember I just bought Shiba one day because everyone was buying it and then it pumped. And I was like, why is this happening? But I didn't ask any questions when the number was going up, if you know what I mean. So anyway, then this cycle, if you look at like what's the highest performing tokens have all been memes. Because I still hold a good bit of utility tokens. And even my own token that I'll mention later is a utility play.
Oh, okay.
And it actually does have utility, unlike a lot of tokens out there, we'll say. But with memes, if you look at like what's happened with, I'm not sure if you know the KOL or the, say, Twitter personality, Murad. He literally got SPX and a few other tokens just to pump crazy numbers just from him tweeting about them. So like basically this cycle with meme coins is just crazy, because how I would term meme coins, I'd split them into two classes. There's like cults and then there's just regular memes. The majority of meme coins are going to zero within 24 hours or 36 hours or whatever. Particularly when they come off pump fun on Sol, we'll say, just use Sol as an example because that's where the majority of the volume is at the moment. But they'll come off pump and then it's like, if you're investing in them, you're not investing in them as like, this is an asset. This is a game where people can invest and they PvP each
I understand,
other.
right? Like meme coins so popular in Solana and Ethereum.
Yeah, and also there's meme coins in Phantom. There's a couple on Phantom at the moment that are pumping, because Phantom are, I think they're rebranding into Sonic at the moment. And then there's also like TON. TON had a lot of plenty of memes that I was aping back recently. And then Justin Sun with Tron as well. So like every single chain has memes. But what that did was it exposed so many people to crypto. But like I still would not consider that cryptocurrency, because it's not. It's like glorified gambling, a lot of it. Do you know, it's gaming as well. It made it very easy for users to actually get involved in the crypto space. And like what I say is, from being involved in it quite a while, if anyone's new and they make a bit of money on the meme coin space or whatever, I'll say to them that it's very important just to, first of all, take your profits, put it into, if it's Sol, ETH or whatever, and then take it off. If you're using it, what I usually use is Trojan Bot on Telegram, or I'll use BullX. But what I'll do is I'll send it off to a cold wallet and say, okay, that's my winnings or my earnings or whatever we want to call it, and I'll keep it there. And I'm not going to, we'll say, put them back into the game, because the longer you're in that space, you're inevitably going to lose everything. Well, not inevitably, but that's what happens a lot of the time.
Yeah, but can you say me why meme coins got so popular and why it's really important for crypto industry?
Well, the main reason that it's important, in my opinion, that it exposes a lot of people to crypto. So I've followed a lot of KOLs on crypto Twitter for a long time. So crypto Twitter is the funniest space in the world. You've got some of the biggest, the degen space. You're talking like some of the best KOLs in the space are like the likes of Mitch at iDrawLine. You've got Ansem, you've got Visitor, all these guys, and they all have their like they're actually hilarious with the content they put out, but they're just what they've done anyways is basically they've invested in meme coins. They've made a lot of money, but then once you get the cash, or let's say the realized earnings, you're like, I want to invest in something legit now, or like you want to move to something else. So what happens a lot of the time is that they'll actually move over to start looking at quality projects, or then they actually start giving really good advice. So these KOLs will actually start educating the people on Twitter who are following them because they're fantastic wins and so on. But then these guys will say, I'm investing in this project. And what happens then is this education in Web3 their knowledge gets transferred onto the masses, more or less. And then as a consequence of that, you have users in, say, crypto that are early or like the first time in the space who are just exposed to meme coins, now finally learning about, okay, this is a use case for crypto in real life as well. And then finally then the education, or however you want to explain it,
it's like best solution for mass adoptions.
Yeah, exactly. Mass adoption is what the term I was looking for.
And can you share some specific information about your experience with meme coins? How you trade, how much money you lose, how much your money you earn from?
I'm not sure if I'd be
able to more interesting part.
Well, like, to be honest, there's a couple of strategies that are there to be for me, and like there's the hodl strategy. And as I'll use this KOL again, Mitch, he's like the funniest person on crypto Twitter. He's like, you must believe in something, yeah? And you're believing in a meme coin, you're like, what? But then if you hodl in something that you actually think is funny, or like that has like cultural relevance, you hodl, aka hold. That's the Web2 users here. All of a sudden, the longer you hold, like these bags, and like I think he's got a wallet that's like worth $6 million now, and he has never touched any of the tokens from that he initially bought from. And I think it was worth 1 Solana at one point as well. But anyway, you can apply that strategy, and that strategy actually works, provided you know what the community is like and what the meme is. And like that's what I said at the very start, the attention economy. So if you actually understand that this is going to get attention, like even if you look at all the memes that launch on a regular basis, every single couple of days there's a new there's a term in the meme coin space called meta. Every couple of days, there's a new meta. So at the weekend just gone there, the AI tokens, even though these AI tokens were literally just nothing to do with AI, to be honest. There's that one, GOAT. I'm sure you saw that, Goatius Maximus. Have you seen that one?
No.
Oh man, it was up at $500 million market.
Oh.
Yeah. And basically it's an AI that's connected to Twitter that's tweeting crazy stuff. Like, I won't even mention it here. If anyone wants to actually know what they're tweeting, you can go and check it. But all these memes then spawned from that. But going back to what I was saying, there's how you pick them or how you make money from them.
But how you hodl, because in some cases, like in some cases token can live one day, a few days, and that's all.
If you leave them 30 minutes, you can't sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't sleep in your bags. So first of all, we're in lock-in time here. If you know the team behind them, first of all, you're like, hey, they've got some base chads behind this. Therefore, I'm able to hodl this. These guys are not going to just like give up on the project. They're not going to just sell the team tokens and just send this to zero. I'll give you an example as well, actually. There's a guy called Oh My Jack.
Okay.
And Oh My Jack CTO'd, which means community takeover. CTO'd a project called Cat Own Kimono a few months ago now. And he sent it from like 8K to multiple millions. And this guy basically, as a consequence of that, now is well respected in the crypto community. You know, if he's involved in any project, he can be trusted. Yeah, because these guys, there's a lot of scammers in crypto and so on that'll say, "Oh yeah, we're leading this," and all of a sudden you're like, you invest your money, you go, you look away from your phone for 5 minutes and it's gone. That happens all the time. But then the longer you're in the space, the more, we'll say, the wiser you get and the easier it is to actually spot what's going to work and what isn't. Because the other thing is everything is on blockchain. So you can see what wallets are involved. You might recognize a wallet because there's some like very big wallets involved. And if these big wallets come in, you're like, particularly if they have Solana or like ETH already, you know, they don't need to sell for a cheeseburger, we'll say, yeah?
Yeah.
The other thing I think you've asked was around the trading strategy. So one of my trading strategies is just to understand that there's no real intrinsic value for 99% of these meme coins. Therefore, you got one that's trending, that fits the current meta, and it's got a lot of volume. You buy in on a good entry point, and then what you can do is set your Trojan or like whatever bot you're using that's integrated with Telegram to sell once a certain limit orders hit, or limit sell once a certain price is hit. And therefore you could be saying, okay, within like 30 seconds, you get a 50% of your profit made. So that's typically what my strategy is, but not always, just in case everyone starts saying that I'm cheating early. You know?
and for the services you use for analyze tokens? The one thing that I've been using recently is, well, I have a few bots that I have on Telegram, but I also use bullx.io. So bullx.io allows you to scan tokens pretty well. There's also another pretty cool website called Bubble Maps that's integrated with Pump Fun as well, and it allows you to scan wallets and see if there's let's say for example, if Dev, somebody who's setting up a meme coin, has bought 25% of the supply and then he split it out into like 10 different wallets. What you can do on Bubble Maps is see that this is the original buyer and he sent it out here. So it's all one giant connected wallet, meaning you're going to get rugged more or less eventually. Yeah, it's good. I just curious because you have, you mentioned you have also business, and how you find time for like trading with cryptocurrency.
I'm in the trenches at the moment now. It's the best place in the world to be, because Telegram Roost is the funniest place in the world, number one. Number two, like, being in the trenches is hilarious. Like the trenches is a term they use in meme coins to say when you're like you're locked in, you're trading, and you're like, you could get rugged, but you could make 100x in like the next 5 minutes. So it's like that excitement. And also when you have a community, when you've been in the space a long time, you start recognizing other people's names. You're like,
you're just sharing information.
Yeah, exactly. And then like sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but there's no better feeling than when you hit that 100x. And like, as they say in crypto Twitter, you never stop clicking.
Okay. So what do you think about perspective in meme coins for next 2025?
So I think that KOL Murad has more or less cracked it. I think even from what my knowledge is that there's even some venture capital funds that are looking at exposing their, say, funds to meme coins, because it's the best performing asset of 2024 by a mile. Like, I hold a lot of utility tokens.
For example,
I have Polkadot, I have ETH. ETH is an example. ETH has barely moved all year, and like I'm
just like basic.
And I'm building on ETH. My own project's building on ETH.
Oh.
And I was like, but at the same time, the money has not moved, or sorry, price has not moved on ETH that much. It's obviously got increased, but like nothing significant. But if you look at some meme coins, it's hard to ignore the fact this is where money is flowing. And you're like, holy shit, I don't understand it. Like for a lot of people, they're like, I don't understand why this is happening. Thing is, you don't need to understand. Like if you ask me, like for example, I'll ask, why do you invest in Tesla? Why do you invest in Tesla? It's like, because I presume the stock price is going to be more expensive in the future. That's the only reason you're investing. That's the exact same reason with meme coins, that for a lot of them. Now, that being said, I just want to point out that I do have a utility token, and that's my main baby. And like, it's not even my main baby. This is a insane utility, because from being in the meme coin space for so long, and also from being in crypto so long, I can see a lot of projects that have claimed utility and not actually just being glorified meme coins, because a lot of their price action is driven by hype and speculation, the same as meme coins. And that's why it's fair enough to invest in meme coins, because this is 100% hype and speculation. A lot of altcoins last cycle was 95% hype and speculation.
Yeah.
Not much difference.
Yeah, meme coins is just altcoins with utility. It's like two different worlds.
Yeah.
What's the tokens you keep now in your wallet?
I'll tell you what. So there's one that has got a really base community online, and it's called Retardio. So Retardio is one of the ones that Murad is called as well. But Retardio, I actually know the CTO lead. His name is Visitor. He's really cool guy. I've been speaking to a lot of their. So if they have an NFT collection, you can spot them anytime you go on crypto Twitter, and they're, in my opinion, possibly the Bored Ape Yacht Club of this cycle. Like, that's obviously a stretch, because Bored Apes were going to like millions of dollars last time. Yeah. But these guys, I remember the first time I started looking at the NFTs that they had, they were like 2 or 3 sol, and now they're like 40 sol. And like, basically it's not slowing down. Murad, who's exposing them to like funds and all this sort of stuff, are big, like proper, we'll say, institutionalized.
Okay.
They're now seeing this. So anyways, if I was like, one of the diamond hands that I have from a meme coin perspective, not trading, is Retardio. I think I caught it like around 25 million. So I wasn't even super early, but it's up like 150 million at the moment, market cap. And the guys that hold it will not sell it. That's the key thing, because they're part of a community, and they're like, they have like plenty of phrases online as well. I'm sure if you find them, if you check them out and stuff.
Okay.
But, and then there's obviously a few others too. But to be honest, like I was in Nero, like Nero's possibly going to go to $1 billion now. But obviously there was a bit of consternation around the CTO Nero and the original Nero and all this sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm not sure which is the right one, so I'm going to have to exit here now nicely. But yeah, no, there's a few like very diamond-handed projects that are out there. I was an active member in the Joe Bowden community. So like Bowden, because that was just hilarious as well. The Politify meta. And basically every single now and then you'll find some really cool community that's not just like I say funny, but also base, and also trying to do things within the community and so on. Because if you go to any of the, would say like a Token 2049 and stuff, there's always meme coin meetups as well, and you find the funniest people in the world at them as well. Like.
And what do you think? What can happen with crypto after US election?
So
because it's really controversial.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So like our although if you saw Kamala's policy for black voters recently, she said about, I think she mentioned about something like ensuring the safety of cryptocurrency transactions.
Yeah.
So she's not super anti-crypto by any means.
Yeah.
But like Trump obviously is very pro.
Yeah.
So I like, and obviously if you look at the Poly Market, the website that literally shows you where the money is going in terms of bets, that's probably the most accurate way of determining who's going to win the US election, because where the money's going is probably like, you know, if everyone's betting on one person, it's more, they're the favorite. Yeah. So after the US election, we've purposely delayed our TGE until after that, because we wanted to see what'll happen then. But like, I'll be very, very bullish on crypto after that.
Yeah, some people wait like crypto going to skyrocket. Some people waiting like some like crisis.
Yeah, well, like I think if you look at the timeline on Twitter, that's what a great determinant is. Like the most bearish I've seen the timeline on Twitter recently was the start of September, and Bitcoin I think today is around 67k, and it was like 69k yesterday, and it's showing very good, like, you know, strong signs of where it's going to go. But we haven't seen super highs yet. But I do think that it's based on the US election, and after the US election, which is like, you know, I think the second week of November.
Yeah.
After that, we're going to see Bitcoin start like rocketing if Trump gets in. Fingers crossed, everybody. You know.
What do you think about TON ecosystem? Because it's really a popular and strong narrative.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm a major TON maxi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, big time. Because if you think about it, TON is actually onboarding people into crypto much easier than I will say any cycle before. Like on Telegram, you have a wallet. You can have a wallet on Telegram. You can have your bots on Telegram, and you don't even need to download like a MetaMask or anything like this. A lot of the time, you have you can have a centralized exchange. You can send your say Solana or ETH or whatever to a bot on Telegram, and on your Telegram, then it's just. It'll say your balance is this, and that's so hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
You're like, what? And then you can just say, okay, I want to buy this at this price. If you spot a token, let's say like Chainlink, or like, let's say it's even Bitcoin. You can see Bitcoin dropping from like 69K. You're like, it goes down to 66K. If it drops to this, then buy. If it goes to 70K, sell, and you can scalp every single time. Before that, you'd have to go onto like, an exchange or like a trading view, and like a lot of Web2 users that are trying to come into the space are like, oh, that's way too much. Even for myself, I barely even use that sort of stuff. Like a lot of the new people I've met in crypto this cycle, they're at their first cycle. There's a group chat that I'm in called Baru Alpha. It's a ridiculous group, to be honest.
You're a really big fan of these crypto communities in Telegram chats.
Serious. My screen time is at least 3 hours a day in Telegram, like at least.
And crypto communities.
Yeah. That's the only thing I use it for. It's the funniest thing ever.
Okay.
Because you get all the alpha, and like fair enough, you might lose, whatever, but at the same time you meet really good people there too.
I think it's bring profit.
Yeah, of course. But like for like Binance Week that's happening next week, a lot of that group that we've never met IRL are coming out to some of the events on my app Portal.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that's the thing. But go back with Telegram and TON. Like TON, that's onboarding a lot of people like from every like area in the world. But the main thing I think, one of the main use cases of Telegram is definitely the embedded wallet. And that's actually what gave us inspiration for our own app as well, because we actually have our own wallet on our app, which is unlike a lot of other projects out there.
Oh, yeah. But actually, I checked trading volume on TON and TVL. It's really so low.
Well, in my opinion anyways, that because of the amount of users that are going to end up having TON or using TON, whether it's inadvertently or purposely, it's a really good buy. So that's what I've been doing. I've been stacking my TON for the last while as well, because... And also, Pavel is the king as well, like absolutely.
Yeah, he's good.
The news articles about him with, the shredded CEO of Telegram, shredded billionaire, like that's just ridiculous, like, know. Because if you look at all the other tech CEOs as well, I remember, was it Elon and Mark Zuckerberg were going to fight in the Coliseum? It's like if Pavel Durov gets in there, it's like, hey, let's get out of here.
Yeah, I think like TON, it takes a little long time and maybe a middle term investment to TON.
Well, that's the thing as well. See, what has happened with crypto recently is that there's so many meme coins that have gone from 0 to 20 or 30 million in one day market cap, that people are like, oh, I don't want to invest in this. Whereas if you go to a bank, you're talking about getting a 5 or 6% interest rate, or like, interest on your savings. But you're like, okay, oh, I can't. That's if you heard that's the rate per day in crypto, you're like, that's a bit low. It's like, no, it's a fantastic opportunity. So with like a proper utility play, when a lot of like liquidity is spread very thin at the moment in crypto, because there's so many memes, there's so many different projects and so on, mainly memes, but they'll all, like a lot of them won't make it, NGMI, yeah?
Okay.
Whereas, but for the project that will make it, that actually have utility, or that migrate from being a meme coin to a cult coin, which is what a lot of the if you're investing in that sort of space, what you want to be doing is finding the cults, not the memes that are just going to die unless you want to trade. You trade the memes, you hodl the cults. That's what you do.
What's the main difference between just memes and cults?
I'd say to put it into, it's more like, I wouldn't say it's intuition or anything, but you can definitely
just intuition.
Well, you can determine pretty well. Like Doge was a cult. Do you know what I mean? Shiba was a cult. I'm sure there's millions other like, wannabe coins at the time. And like even Floki is a cult. They're like the last cycles of meme coins. This cycle there's lots as well, but you can kind of determine the ones that are being held. And that guy Murad that I mentioned already, he's got he posts regularly about, I think he's got a triangle showing the different levels of memes, and that space we're moving into. But we'll move off memes now again.
And what do you think, what's the main criteria to understand like it's like cults or just meme coins regular?
First is you can determine the number of holders, but then you can see who's actually moved. The top holders, have they touched that meme or that asset in a long time? So let's say if I'm investing in, let's say Bitcoin as an example, just talk about Bitcoin. You can see that the whales, the ancient whales, have never touched their Bitcoin, and like they could sell and nuke Bitcoin for like, billion if they wanted to.
Okay.
But these guys won't, because they're like, I know the value is going to be higher in the future. So that's the cult of Bitcoin. So you apply that to a meme as well. You're like, this is going to be like, we'll say more value in the future, or however they look at it, you know? So that's definitely one of the criteria you can look at to determine
got
the
it.
culture meme.
Let's discuss about your main business, about what you do. I think it's more interesting
Yeah,
for
sure.
discussing.
Yeah, definitely.
You have a Web3 social fi platform.
Yeah, so-
you told me about it last time. Really nice idea of this project. Can you share more?
Yeah, so I have a app called Portal, and our native token is called Pass.
Okay.
But Portal is essentially a Web2 app with Web3 features, because we understood like the Web3 community is quite small, whereas the Web2 community is global.
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
Web3 community is global technically too, but the Web2 community is far greater. So what we just decided to do is build a Web2 app with Web3 features. So essentially what we did was we built an app called Portal, and how it works is you download the app, you create a profile, social profile. Once you do profile created, you can explore the city that you're in based on bars, restaurants, things to do, etc. You can see if you're connected with your friends, because you can connect with people on it, you can see where they're going, what they're doing, and so on. If they're on public, of course, you can be completely private too. And finally, you've got a financial element, which is your Web3 wallet. So essentially what we've done is we have a social, lifestyle, and financial app all in one.
It's like super app.
Yeah, to an extent. But obviously, I think that's a lot of people claim that and they've never made it, you know. So,
And do you work only in Dubai or in different countries?
so for now, we're launching in Dubai because that's what the team is, but we're going global. So with any good product, when you build a good show, you take it on the road, we'll say. Yeah, so that's exactly what we're doing here. And that's the main thing for us. We focus on building a really good product and like creating something that everyone will want to use over and over again. And like a lot of apps, when you download them, they might be a great idea, but once you download them, you'll never open it again. And like this has become so true.
Yeah, it's true.
When I look at my apps on my phone, I'm like, geez, I actually completely forgot I even had this app. Where did I get this from, and so on. So that's the thing. We want an app that's going to bring users back over and over again, and we're testing it in Dubai before we bring it global. But where we are right now is we've got a lot of organic downloads. We haven't spent a cent on marketing, and we don't have any plans to yet, because we want to focus on building the product very, very well.
Building product.
And the main thing for us is that once we have a beautiful product, users are going to come regardless. And then once we have the users, then the Web3 features kick in properly, which I'll explain in a second about the token.
And you mentioned like you have events, you can find some restaurants, you book bar. Describe more about what the kind these events.
The main question on a Friday night globally is, where are we going tonight and who's going? So on Portal, what you can do is you can view bars, restaurants, events, and clubs, and whatever activities in general. You can see who's going, if they're in public as well. And what you can do is you can connect with somebody on the guest list. You can check who's going to that, whether it's going to be worth going to. And then what you can do is you can connect with them in advance. So you can send a connection request. If connection request is accepted, you can DM the person.
Yeah, it's really good.
So what happens then is, instead of having to decide where am I going tonight, you can actually make your plan based off what's on the app in advance.
And what's your stage now for on project?
So we're about 50% complete with the project. We've got our MVP live in the App Store. We've had about 1,500 downloads in the last week organically, word of mouth. Just
how people find the app?
Just referrals. That's it. Because we have a couple of events on it. Like for example, tomorrow we're working with a company called Massy Mass and Solana. So they're doing a yacht party on the app. Basically, they promote on their Instagrams. They have their other influencer network as well. A lot of people downloading saying, oh, you're going to this as well. I'm also going.
Yeah, it's nice.
So, you know? Yeah, exactly. So with our app, you can determine if it's going to be busy or not. You can see, and you can also see who's going. And then you're like, okay, let's see if it's going to be worth actually going to.
And how you made up this idea to do this exactly business?
The main thing is I actually was a club promoter when I was in my 1920 back in university. Basically, people used to ask me, is it going to be busy? And who's going? And I was like it'd be great. Like Facebook events used to allow you to see who was actually going, but no one uses Facebook anymore. It's a boomer project, you know? Whereas with us, it's like, hey, download the app and you can see who's going. But the other thing that I wanted to do from a Web3 perspective, so what I wanted to do is come back to Dubai and set up an NFT where you could stack a lot of utility onto the app by saying, I buy this NFT for $500, but by holding this NFT, I'm going to earn 10% off, let's say, at this place that you spend $1,000 every single week. So 50 by 1,000 is 50,000. So 52 weeks in the year, $52,000. You save 10% of that. That's $5,200 saved. And let's say the NFT costs you $500. Therefore, you're actually in profit from holding the NFT.
Okay.
So that was the original plan.
Can you explain me why you decided to your app like combine Web 2 and Web 3?
So, in my opinion, if you want to actually target, if you want to have a Web 3 project that's successful, you must make a Web 2 interface.
It will be more usable for people.
For sure. And also, if you think of Web 3, you hear decentralization, you hear blockchain, you hear all these terms that you will never be able to wrap your head around, you know, as a Web 2 user. And you're like, okay, it's nearly like the barrier to entry for you, just those terms. So you remove all those terms. And like, even if we talk about, you mentioned the token that we have on our platform, we're even discussing calling that a credit, because a lot of the people, they hear tokenization, decentralization, blockchain, all those terms, and that jargon that's associated with Web3, that's going to block a lot of users come into the space. So that's why we built a Web2 app that has Web3 features.
I just curious because how you mentioned it, it's about Web 2.
Yeah.
And why you decided to bring Web 3 and tokenize project and like listing tokens?
Our token utility, first of all, is we have a couple of very strong token utilities. But one of the things that we wanted to do was to tokenize loyalty points initially. But just by tokenizing loyalty points, it's going to create a lot of sell pressure on your token. So we're like, if we just do that, while we want to give the user the ability to earn the tokens back.
It's like credits, right?
Yeah. So if you earn back, let's say loyalty points.
Loyalty points.
You earn back your
in Web 3.
Yeah. If you earn them back in Web 2, they're stuck on, like, a lot of Web 2 apps have wallets that aren't essentially wallets, but they'll allow you the opportunity to use these loyalty points in things you don't want to do. So these loyalty point systems are rigid and they're built for the business to retain the customer and lock the customer in, instead of actually being a loyalty point for the customer to allow to use them how they want. So that was the initial idea for the token. But from a utility perspective and a sell pressure and like a chart perspective, what wasn't going to work. So how our token works for merchants is with Facebook, you target your audience on the Facebook Ads Manager, and you spend, like, say, $1,000 and you'll reach X amount of customers here. So with us, what we do is we essentially the same thing, but we have the advertising as credits, but that's our token. So you buy $1,000 worth of token from Portal, and then you exchange that for advertising space to the users, whether it's DMs or if it's push notifications. The merchant will go and buy tokens, yes, and they'll exchange the tokens to us.
Okay.
And then what happens is once we receive the tokens, we'll send 50% of them to be burnt. So we'll remove them from circulation. So we'll decrease the supply. And at the same time, the other 50% we'll put back into our treasury, which will be vested over like a certain period of years. So the more users we get, the higher the demand for the advertising grows. So that means the merchants will keep wanting to buy more and more advertising credits from us, which is our token, increasing buy pressure. And every time they buy more tokens, we decrease the supply. So what happens if there's increased demand and decreased supply? Price go up. That's what happens.
Okay.
So that's one of the main, we'll say, functions of the token.
What's the type of clients who will use ads?
I'll give you an example. Let's say you're in
it's like for restaurants, for like
bars, clubs, activities, events, anything. So let's say, because we are, like I said, social, financial, lifestyle app, we've got your the user data from social perspective, user data from lifestyle perspective, and financial perspective. So let's say if I am a club in Dubai and I'm opening up a new night, I'm like, I want to target the top 5% of spenders in Dubai. So they can go and, from our platform, advertise to these users. But in order to do that, they got to buy the token. They buy the token and it comes back into the ecosystem, like you explained.
Okay. And how many places you have in now in app now?
So we use the APIs of multiple different projects.
Yeah.
So rather than having to go and onboard every single company and say, hey, switch to our platform that we've already built, we're actually APIing and we'll say partnering with a lot of different companies, global ones as well, not just the ones that are like, local in Dubai. So we have 2,500 bars and restaurants available on the platform. And what we do from a revenue perspective is because a lot of people say, hey, how does the app make money if you're actually... So the main thing is that we get referral fees, commissions, and so on, transaction fees from all the transactions that go through the platform. So, but we have 2,500 bars and restaurants at the moment. We're in the process of onboarding another major aggregator that's going to provide us with maybe 50,000 globally.
Yeah.
So then once that happens, then what we want to do eventually is you arrive to any city, you download the app Portal, and now you've got a portal to that city.
It's a little closer like marketplace.
Yes, exactly. So like, in my opinion, like I always used to wonder why First of all, if you go on Instagram, why can't you actually book a restaurant on Instagram? It's like, you see a really cool restaurant and you're like, I want to go there. Then you click reserve, you get taken to a third party. You're like,
it's just like
so
images, like
exactly.
profile.
But we built that all in one. And on top of that then as well, you've got our own financial element where you can actually pay for it as well in app. You pay for it, you earn the tokens
And
back.
how I can pay, like just in cryptocurrency or like in fiat, or how?
You can pay with fiat or crypto in the app. So it's up to you. So you got
You accept all methods.
Yes, exactly. So we have our Web3 wallet, we've got Apple Pay, we've got our crypto pay
Everything.
provider, and we also have our own card, prepaid card that's arriving now. So the prepaid card is where you can load over 20 different currencies with, let's say you've got Sol, or let's say it's ETH, or let's say it's any stablecoin, or like multiple other tokens as well. But you're like, okay, you transfer your funds from MetaMask, centralized exchange, Phantom, anything into our wallet. So we have an ERC20 wallet and a Solana wallet being built at the moment. Then what you can do is you load your card with these funds, and then you can go to, let's say, a bar, restaurant, shop, or anything. Let's say you want to buy tickets to go home to Ireland.
And can I pay like by card?
You pay with card, yeah, and you can pay with the Solana you made from somewhere else, and then all of a sudden,
it's perfect.
They get dollars, dirhams, or whatever currency they want the far side.
Yeah, it's really perfect. But card is ready, or like when?
Card's ready at the end of December. So we got
soon,
and the way you get your card, you must pay for it with our token. So that's another say utility of the token as well, to make sure that the token. Although I truly believe the advertising token, or the AI advertising token model that we have, is extremely strong. I don't think it's ever been done before. And like I said at the start of the podcast, there's a lot of people LARPing, claiming that they've got a utility token. This actually is. You can ask any utility play, why is your token essential to the product? Why is token required? And they'll all start stuttering over their words. Whereas with us, we're like, without our token, no one can advertise on the platform. If merchants want to advertise to these users, they must buy the token.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah, utility is very important.
Yeah.
And can you tell me about what's the business model in your app? You mentioned about advertisement campaign. You mentioned about transaction fee.
Yeah.
And
so
what else?
So let's say, for example, we have multiple different bars, restaurants, events, and so on. There is a feed that you can pay to rank, like Google. So it's a listing, number one.
Yeah.
You got listing, you got referral fees.
B2B priority.
Yes, exactly. Like Google Ads style. Then you got referral fees. So if we send you more customers, we like a concierge model, you get rewarded for that. Then you got the advertising, which is focused only on the token, however. And then there's other current, like we say, examples like transaction fees and so on as well. So we're in the process of applying for the VAR license at the moment. So the Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority. Once we have that, then what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to engage in Web3 activities as well. Once those Web3 activities are once we're able to do that, there'll be like transaction fees, there'll be exchange fees and so on. But until that's planned for Q2 2025.
You will be so rich
We'll see.
after all updates.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, like the main thing is it's not going to work unless the app is really cool. That's what we've been working on, making the app cool for users. Like what Facebook and every Snapchat, TikTok, etc. did. Like before they brought in the advertising platforms, they made the app very, very cool to use. And that's what we want to do. We want people to go down, download the app on a Friday and just open on a Friday, receive offers from places nearby, and then be able to check where your friends are going. Because one of the cool features we have as well is we have the equivalent of like a map where you can see if I'm connected to you, I can see where you are right now if you're in public. But I can also, if I fast forward time, I can see where you're going to be on Friday night. It's like, Kirill's going to Surf Club Friday. Great. A lot of my friends go there. Let's go there. And so on. Yeah. A couple more features as well that I won't be listing here because they're very, very unique, and they definitely are. They haven't been done yet, and we just don't want any imitation, because we've already seen a few apps say people that are looking into what we're doing and seeing if they can replicate it. Unfortunately, they won't be able to, but basically I'm just keeping a few cards close to my chest for the time being.
But actually, I think to develop this app and this all features, it's really difficult.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing that we did.
How much time you developed this app?
We've been developing it for 15 months, and we have taken wrong turns multiple times. But what I've learned is that a lot of tech companies fail just because people give up. It's not because the tech and the idea wasn't good enough. It's because it's just frustrating when you're like, oh, I'm almost there, something goes wrong. That's just the main thing for a founder, is that you just have to be incredibly resilient. And if you don't have that, you're not going to make it. That's the bottom line. What I found is that and even my original team that I had, they're all gone. They're all gone completely, like, You're in a race and people are falling off, not reaching the finish line. And then we're almost there now. And like, we pretty much are there, to be honest. And I have an unbelievable team now, like the best team I'd say possible. But basically, we've been, as I said there, 15 months developing it. We definitely have a few more months to go.
Oh, it's insane, like 15 months.
Yeah, and relentless, like every waking moment thinking about it. Because at the end of the day, if you see an opportunity and the main thing is that for me, I'm building this product from all the desires and needs I had. Yeah. So like I was like, oh, this would be a very cool thing. And I asked the tech team, can we do this? They're like, oh my God. I'm like, please. And they're like, yeah, we can do it. I'm like, how long? They're like, it'll take like 6 weeks. I was like, nah, 3 weeks. And they're like, okay, go on. So basically, and like we're even to this day adding more ideas and features to the app because we just want it to be the coolest thing to use and to retain users as well.
Okay. And your team is big, or how many employees you work with?
We have 5 in the office in the business development and marketing team in the office in Dubai, and then we have 9 engineers.
And do you know some same apps in market in Web3, or it will be first?
Well, to be honest, we're like a comprehensive version of what we're trying to do. There's a few people a few companies that have looked into different spaces, but like I've even done my market research and seen there's projects that have tried to do some of the features we've done and they haven't made it. And like, it's because they don't have the holistic approach that we do. Because like I said there, a lot of them, they might have a really cool idea how to acquire users. Then it's like, okay, how do you keep the lights on in the company? They don't have the answers to that. Or let's say it's a feature that goes, even if they try to launch 2 features side by side, they mightn't like work together. But everything on our platform kind of works perfectly because the intersection of social, financial and lifestyle is the perfect way of doing this. Like a Venn diagram saying you got social, this circle, financial, lifestyle. You can put loads of different apps around here, but only one goes in the middle, and that's PORTL.
Okay.
So in Dubai, there's a lot of people that are KOLs,
Yeah.
Key opinion leaders. And it's very funny because you might be following them for a long time. You go to an event and next thing you bump into them. You're like, oh my God, it's you. And they're like, yeah, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, Dubai is really a huge place for make new connection. All people from all over the world come.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but, by the way, how long are you in Dubai?
I'm here since 2020.
2020. For 4 years going.
Yes, and won't be leaving for a while.
So what's your plans on nearest future?
So what we're doing is we're going to hold our TGE, Token Generation event, at the end of November. And for the next 6 weeks or so, we're just raising for that. We're staying away from launchpads at the moment. We're trying to stay away from VCs and everything like that as well, because we want people that are interested and understand what we're doing to come in. Because at the end of the day, it's not hard to raise money for a project that is in revenue, has thousands of users. For the immediate future anyways, is we just want to close the round over the next 6 weeks. We're going to do our TGE. That happens then when you have a product and a crypto project like us. So our Web2 product and our token, both of them are very strong by themselves, coming together. And one is like, they're not mutually exclusive. When that launches, I think it should, any quality or any smart investor be like, hey, this is going to go places, So I'd say we'll have a lot of hype from that. But basically for the next 3 months, got 6 weeks before TGE. The next 6 weeks after that is even more important.
Actually, in your case, you mentioned about difficult to raise money. In your case, for your project, for your startup, it was difficult?
Initially, yeah. So I think about every single...
Can you share your experience in this case? Well,
I actually have one of the most legendary investors in Dubai. So he's going to be delighted now. His name's Steve Main. So he's the owner and founder of Creative Zone. So I actually know Steve a few years. But basically... before I actually reached out to him, didn't know where to turn initially, or like how to raise funds, because I'd never done it before. So, but anyways, with raising funds, it's definitely not easy. But what we've done is we've bootstrapped the last few months, like the last 7 or 8 months completely, all self-funded the last 7 or 8 months, more or less. And basically, just because we're like, if we were going raising again, we need to have the product cool. So people are saying, oh, I actually want to invest in this, rather than saying, here's a white paper, here's my plan, blah, blah, blah. Because only certain people will take a risking of that. They have to know. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm saying, I'll actually say about Steve Main, that's why he's such a key part of the project as well. When we were initially getting set up and stuff, he provided office space, he provided connections, and he provided all the funding initially. And then for the last 6 months, what we've done is bootstrapped it to make sure that we actually, when we raise again, we get the valuation that we deserve as well. Rather than saying, okay, I can take funds like tomorrow from somebody, we'll say.
No.
And then if you take them, it's not the right time to do it, number one. But the people you want to take the money from is people that will believe in the project, because an investor should be more than just an investor saying, here's funds, go do what you want. Then you're probably going to burn them, do you know? You need someone who's going to be looking over you saying, okay, that's the wrong thing. Because when you get investment, you need someone that's not just investing financially, you need them to be investing like mentally into what the project is as well, saying this what, like if they're able to invest, they've obviously done it before themselves and saying these are the mistakes you don't want to make.
Yeah. And what's the amount you raised at the first time, if it's not a secret?
We raised 500K, 500 USD.
It's good.
And then from tokens so far, we raised 100K. And then the next round of our token is 500K. And then so we're doing pre-seed and seed for token. We're doing 500K equity. So we're doing around, just over 600K with the token. Once that's done, then we're we're TGing, going on, we're doing a DEX launch as well, decentralized exchange launch as well.
Okay.
And then from there, we're just going to grow.
Okay, makes sense. Before we wrap up, can you share with audience your personal insight, and can you give a recommendation for like in general and for crypto guys?
Well, for the crypto guys, is listen. The main
it's more easier.
Well, the main thing is that everything you're investing in, there has to be a winner and loser right now. That's the thing. So it's like if you're going to get greedy, and I think everyone does this a lot. Even myself, sometimes I've got to check myself, saying, "Wait, what are you doing?" If you're looking for the next Doge, next Mooner, next blah blah blah. You're going to hit one in like a million, and they're not good odds. If you can just say, okay, for the next while I'll be disciplined and trade responsibly, more or less, you come out of this cycle very, very rich. And I've seen it happen so far, and I've seen it in the last 2 cycles as well. But the other thing then from an entrepreneur perspective is this. I always thought there's a lot of bullshit at the start saying you've got to build an unbelievable product. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, it's all about the product. It actually is, because the difference between me going raising funds now versus back, like I say, a year ago, is that I was explaining to people, this is what we're going to do. And people were like, heard about 1 million of you tell me this shit before. Whereas you're like, this is what we've done. And we haven't raised any funds for the last while, but now we're looking to raise, and this is what we want. People actually can see the vision once it's in front of them. So that's the main thing. If you want to build something, you bootstrap as much as you can, because the other thing is, for us, we're bootstrapping on purpose, because we get a load of users. What's that going to mean? How much is the company going to be worth then versus what it's going to be if we just raised, we'll say 6 months ago. So that's
really valuable. Thank you, Michael, for coming. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise.